Okay, going live on YouTube. Welcome, YouTube. Okay, so I am so honored, so blessed, so excited to spend a few minutes live with you guys. Let me try to adjust everything here. Okay, beautiful. So whether you're here with me live or you're watching the replay, I'm really excited to do this. So yesterday I saw the craziest thing on Instagram. And when you see one person saying something, without a doubt, there are going to be lots of other people that are saying it too. And soon everyone, thank you, soon everyone is going to be saying it. So what I saw is that self-love is selfish. And this is not true at all, but it's also very, very dangerous because if you start saying things like this, people are going to listen and they're going to stop, they're going to feel guilt over taking care of themselves. And so if you're starting to see these things, hi, Tanya. Hi, welcome. I'm happy to connect with you too. If you are starting to see things like this on social media or anywhere in the world, that self-love is selfish, it is coming from people that are confused about what self-love is. Now, most people mean well, and I am sure that they mean well. But if we believe all of the guidance that comes from outside of us, or even a portion of it, it's going to be very, very confusing. Everyone is on a different place in their life path. And so while guidance that is appropriate and right for one person, that's great for them, but it doesn't mean it's appropriate and right for me or for you. And so that's why it's so, so important to cultivate a practice of going within to receive our guidance. Because if we're always looking for other people to guide us, we're always, in a sense, going to be lost and always trying to find that thing. So with self-love, this post, I understand what the person's coming from. What they were saying essentially is that someone who just thinks about themselves all the time and is a very like me, gimme, 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 and never wants to do anything to help other people. Hi, Robert. Hi, welcome. So that's what they're talking about, right? They're saying that kind of attitude, that's what self-love is, and that's very selfish. What that actually is narcissism. It's someone who only thinks of themselves and never thinks of anyone else. That is not the same thing as self-love. Self-love is loving yourself deeply despite all your flaws. And this is where all of the magic in our lives, thank you, Purple Paradox, that's where all of the magic in our lives really, really stems from, is saying, no matter what I've done, no matter what I think, I understand that I have worth because of who I am. Because at my core, I am everything. I am the universe. And it's just such an important distinction. So I wanted to pop in here because I know if one person is saying this on Instagram, there's a whole boatload of other people saying it too. It is not true. They're describing narcissism. They're not describing self-love. Narcissists do not love themselves. They actually feel incredible loathing for themselves, which they then project out to the other people in their lives. It's not the same thing at all. And so it's very important that we use our discernment. And if we don't have discernment, that we begin cultivating it. Discernment is when we're looking at the outside world and we're receiving guidance from the outside world. We're then examining it on the inside and saying, does this resonate for me? For example, if a big thought leader, now I'm not a big thought leader, I would like to be, and I'm working towards it, but I do have people that listen to me, someone like me or somebody that's really, really big, right, that has an audience of millions of people. If they say something, it does not necessarily mean it applies to you. It might apply to them based on where they currently are on their life path, but it does not always apply to you. Just because they're a big success and they seem to have it all figured out does not mean that guidance is appropriate for where you are. Now, it might be. So you have to cultivate this process of going within and saying, does this resonate with me? Is this the right next step for me? Should I listen to this? Or is this something that I should just let pass me by and not worry about it, not look into it? Because what's going to happen with all of these people that are hearing this thing that self-love is selfish, they're going to start feeling guilt around taking care of themselves. What this person who made this post went on to say were things like, you should always take care of others first, which that's beautiful, but anyone who has done this, taken care of everyone else in their life before themselves, you probably understand. I mean, as a mom, I can really resonate with this. And, I can remember when my daughter was little, not showering for days, maybe even a whole week. Exactly, Robert. Yes, absolutely. Love yourself. Nothing can hurt you. And then you can love yourself. Now, this is just so true. And the irony of this Instagram post that I read is it's coming from someone who has all the time in the world to take care of themselves, and they do take excellent care of themselves. So they're telling all their thousands of followers, don't take care of yourself. Take care of everybody else. But that's not what they're actually living. And yeah, the only way that you are going to live a life in alignment with your truth is if you start accepting yourself, start becoming familiar. Yes, oxygen mask. I love, love, love that reference. Put on your oxygen mask before you put on everybody else's. Yes, yes, yes. It's so important. And yet there's this whole crop of people that are coming out right now and saying this is not true. And so I think it's important that people come up and start, you stand up for yourself. If you see something like that, say, that doesn't sound right to me. Part of self-love is saying what I think matters, what I feel matters, and not just accepting what everybody else says to us. Okay, Tanya says, how about if I'm an empath, how do I love myself first? Because I'm very sensitive, which I sometimes put their needs first. Yeah, beautiful, Tanya. It's a process. It is a process of, I mean, this is what we do on Unlimited You. It's a huge thing of beginning to really listen to what you are hearing. I tell people when they start, just really start spending time focusing on yourself, focusing in on your inner self every single day. No matter that everybody else around you has needs and expects you to do things, you must start cultivating a conversation with your inner self. Start understanding what it is that you need. And as an empath, you might not even know what you need. You might have led a life that is so in service to others and so self-sacrificing. You might not know those things. And so one beautiful thing you can do is start every day with a journal question and say, what do I need today? And just let ideas come out. And over time, just by doing that practice, you'll start getting comfortable with the fact that maybe you do have needs, and maybe it's okay, it is safe to take care of those. But there are absolutely empaths that start self-actualizing, start stepping into their purpose, and start understanding that it is safe and normal to take care of yourself first. So just because you're an empath, you are in no way stuck in this space. What you're describing more than being an empath actually is programming. Programming that is probably stems from your very young childhood of 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 believing that your needs aren't important. And it probably had to do with whoever was raising you, probably put their needs before yours, or you were left holding a lot of the responsibilities even when you were young. And so you grew up being programmed to take care of the people around you, or you simply were maybe in a way not given the attention you needed. There's all different kinds of ways this programming can come to us and become a part of us. But what it is really starting to examine, what are these things that I believe about myself, and are they actually true? Because we believe things about ourselves that we wouldn't say applies to another person. For example, I'm sure that you are familiar with other empaths that maybe are not saying that same thing. But for you, you feel like it's true that because you're an empath, there's nothing you can do. But it's actually just programming that needs to be released. And that's a whole big thing. But I would definitely it's definitely doable. It's a process that is normal as you begin stepping more into your life path, stepping more into trusting yourself and understanding that you have worth. And I really do think, just I'm hearing loud and clear, starting off every day, asking yourself, what do I need today? And it's okay if you have a list and you can only do one thing on that list. Or it's okay if you can't do anything on that list every day, but just keep asking and keep intending. And eventually you will find a way to start making that list come true. Okay, and Andrea says, why is love important? Okay, well, I think love is fundamentally, it's the energy universe. It is at our core what we actually are. So when we're separated from a feeling of love, we're separated from our inner self, we're separated from our truth. And so it is something that has to be remembered. It has to be in us. Because even for most of us, and for me, most of my life, I thought that I was really experiencing love for the other people in my life. But really, what was more happening was I was judging them. All my family members, I was judging them all the time. I was thinking, oh, they could do this better, or I don't like this about them. Oh, I love them, but I don't like this. And what was actually happening was I was just projecting how I felt about myself inside. I didn't love myself. I felt extreme judgment for myself. I didn't feel like I was good enough or I had much worth. And so in order to sort of live with myself, I projected those feelings out into the people around me. And so when I started to do the inner work of releasing this programming that made me feel like I didn't have worth, it really began to bring me to a place where I started to love myself. I started to accept myself with all of my flaws included. And it has allowed me then to accept the other people in my life, all of their flaws included. Now, when I look at them, I don't see their flaws anymore. I see the good parts. And when I look at myself, I don't see my flaws as much anymore. It's coming to me to share. I've had severe acne most of my life, which has really been under control the last 10 years or so. But I've had a really bad flare, a really bad breakout this last week. Now, in the past, I wouldn't have come on camera. Absolutely not. I have a lot of makeup on today because I would have felt not worthy. I wouldn't have loved myself because there was something not perfect on the outside, on my external. But I'm in this beautiful place right now that I understand I love myself. I understand I have worth. I'm starting to really self-actualize and live my soul purpose, live my mission. And so I'm able to love myself despite something that in the past would have really held me back and So I hope that helps. It really, love is life changing, and it's a process, and that's okay. And it's okay if you don't feel it yet and you're not there yet. That's beautiful. Just asking that question, Andrea, I mean, that's a big deal, because most people would have just turned off my video, right? Or would have just slammed the book shut or whatever. The fact that your mind is open and you're saying, why? That's a big, big deal. It means you're starting to break through the layers of the programming, societal programming. And so beautiful, beautiful question. Robert says, we can't judge others because we don't see through their eyes. Mostly we are really seeing ourselves in them and what we would be doing. Well, that's so true, Robert. But that does take time to get there, and that's okay. So I want you to know that wherever you are watching this video, that's beautiful and perfect. And so I also want you to know that when I read this post last night, because I'm at the place where I understand that every single thing that enters my life, even if it triggers me, even if it makes me upset, like this Instagram post did, for those of you that are just joining right now, the Instagram post said that self-love is selfish, which is just the opposite of what I know to be true. So that triggered me, that I said, no, of course not. But it made me angry. It made me upset. And that's a trigger. And so I had to say, okay, well, why is this happening? Why did this enter my life? Because I know now everything's coming to me for a reason. And I'm very in the flow. And so I'm seeing these things right away. Now, this took years to get to. So don't worry if you're not in this place of being able to say right away, okay, this thing happened in my life. I don't like it. What's the cause, so that I can gain what I'm supposed to gain out of it. So I immediately knew when I asked that question, why did I see this post, or why did this post come to me? Because like Robert said, I'm seeing something in myself that I'm projecting, and that's why this post came to me. Well, what I knew was, oh my gosh, okay, I had double booked myself on Sunday, and I had spent all of for a media appearance and one of my courses, my Lightworkers 101, and one, well, not double booked, they were 2 hours apart, or an hour apart, but it was still going to be a lot with my kids. It would be a lot for me and a lot for my kids. So I had spent all day yesterday worrying about this and wondering what I should do and trying to ask for guidance, but blocking it because I wanted to take care of these other two obligations. And I felt that I wouldn't be able to do that and take care of my kids the way I wanted to. And so I understood then in that moment that this was coming through, this post was coming through, so that I would recognize it's not selfish to take care of myself. And it's okay to cancel the media appearance so that I can take care of my kids. I can fulfill my obligation to Lightworkers. But if I would have just slammed the door shut on this post and said, this is stupid, I don't like this, instead of saying, why did this come to me? Then I wouldn't have gotten that beautiful understanding and been able to move forward. So yes, I hope this was so helpful for you guys. Self-love is amazing. It is a process. It's not something where you simply, I always say to people, it's not like manicures and drinking wine. I mean, that stuff's great. I'm not knocking that, but that's not actually what it is. It's a process of starting to accept all of your perceived flaws and loving yourself despite them. That is what self-love is. And there's nothing selfish about that. That is the start of magic. That is the start of everything you dream of. Accepting the things that you don't currently like about yourself and sending yourself love as if you were somebody else. And because it's really easy for us to say, oh, that's okay, to other people in our lives. That doesn't matter. I love you despite that. But for us, it's a much, it takes more to say, you know what? I love myself, even though, like for me, even though my skin is very, very broken out, and in the past I wouldn't have come anywhere near a camera. And for me to say, my skin is not who I am. That's that's not my truth. My truth is so much deeper. It's so much more infinite. And yeah, I hope this was really, really helpful for you guys. Thank each and every one of you for joining me for a few minutes here. I send you big, huge hugs, so much love. Have a beautiful rest of your day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. End video. Bye-bye.